Section 377A. I will state categorically that I am not in favor of mainstreaming the homosexual lifestyle, but had not intended to speak on Section 377A, as the government has consulted widely, many have spoken on this issue, and most Singaporeans let out a sigh of relief when they noticed that this amendment bill left the existing Section 377A intact. While I do not want to dwell into the hypothetical scenario painted by Mr. Baey Yam Keng, but the fact remains that, outraged by Mr. Siu Kam Hong's open petition, many of my concerned constituents and friends have come forward to voice out their extreme unease about how this issue might evolve, and they feel that it is about time they let their stand be made known. They have come out more forcefully to make their views known, and the Tampines GRC MPs have promised to express some of these views for them, the hitherto silent majority. I would like to quote from one of my residents from my GRC, Ms. Samantha Wong of Tampines Street 81. I quote, "I cannot imagine the repercussions that is, repeal of Section 377A, would have on the morality of the society. This is a place where my children and children's children will grow up in. Thus, I plead that this decision, i.e. the government's decision in not changing Section 377A, would not change for the sake of upholding the moral standards and family values in this nation. In no way does this petition, i.e. Mr. Siu Kam Hong's petition, serve the interests of Singapore or us as Singaporeans, but only a small portion pushing to serve their own personal interests/agenda." Unquote. So whether Section 377A should be repealed or retained is an emotive issue that has aroused much debate. It has forced us to examine our beliefs and convictions against the context of changing perceptions and values that have happened over time. Judging by the number of signatures that the two opposing websites, Repeal 377A and Keep 377A, have amassed, it has compelled many of us to make a stand for what we believe in. The true crux of the matter is whether Singaporeans are ready to openly accept homosexuality into mainstream society. Although a vocal segment of society has garnered much support for the repeal of Section 377A, the majority of Singaporeans have unequivocally rejected this cry to decriminalize homosexuality. The overwhelming sentiment of Singaporeans is that they are not prepared to compromise their conservative family values by opening up to alternative sexual behavior, nor allowing it to permeate across time-honored boundaries into the conventional family sanctity. So I would like to thank Professor Teo for giving me a lesson, the history lesson yesterday, on how the concept of marriage and modern-day family came about. Sir, the family unit has been acknowledged as the building block of society, praised as the foundation of social order, and exalted as the bastion of civilization. It is the family that nurtures our children. It is the family that nurtures us to contribute to our community. It is the family that believes in working towards the future. Every nation is fully cognizant of the importance of the family as the primary source of stability and growth. Singapore is no different. Our government has demonstrated its commitment to preserve and strengthen the family structure through pro-family laws and policies. I believe that a great majority are keen to preserve the family unit as we know it, a family unit that consists of a father, a mother, and their children. In a fast-changing world, the traditional family unit is already vulnerable to various encroachments, such as rising divorce rates, the increase in the number of single-parent households, and work pressures. We must do all we can to support the integrity of the family and keep it safe from further challenges. By promoting homosexuality, we are effectively initiating a shift in the definition of the family unit. I gravely fear that repealing Section 377A will lead to calls for further integration of homosexuality into our society. Singaporeans are simply not ready to change their family values at this point in time. Encouraging homosexuality would undermine the traditional family institution and weaken our social fabric. Let the family unit not be compromised. The majority of Singaporeans want their children to grow up in a traditional environment that espouses healthy and wholesome traditional family values. We do not want the homosexual lifestyle to be promoted or celebrated. So my next point touches on Section 292. Every society will have to set its own values, standards, and norms. Take the Japanese, for example. My Japanese friends tell me that they are shy to answer their mobile phones and talk loudly while traveling in a commuter train, because that is simply bad manners. But paradoxically, I have witnessed Japanese men very openly and nonchalantly reading sexually explicit anime magazines while riding in those same commuter trains. Singaporeans, on the other hand, might not care much for people around them when they talk loudly on their mobile phones, but the majority of us would be embarrassed and offended by blatant displays of pornographic materials. Our society is such that the possession of obscene materials is considered morally wrong, and the open display of them viewed as socially distasteful. People who do possess obscene materials of any kind tend to do so furtively, and at their own risk of being found out and shamed. I would like to commend the government for making its position on obscene materials very clear through the existing Section 292 of the Penal Code and the proposed amendments to bring it in sync with modern technology. But in spite of this succinct statement of the law, I do not think the government does in practice actively raid people's cupboards for Playboy magazines, nor conduct spot checks on computer hard disks to ensure that they are free of obscene materials. However, the reason of the government not being proactive in enforcing this law against possession of obscene materials does not make it redundant, nor run, I quote, the risk of bringing the law into disrepute, a phrase borrowed from the Law Society.